phases. Skipping phases will leave you with dependencies that are undiscovered, and they're going to create business process problems in the future. So we can leverage Monday.com to break our cloud review into phases and stages where we will assign and understand the subtasks that need to be performed. For example, here we identify the primary cloud service provider and which cloud service provider is the primary. Here we can share the point of contact email, phone, the due date, share any files, set priority, determine progress tracking, and document the customer or client's response. So let's go back. So we've identified the primary cloud service provider. Now, we want to understand the high-level hierarchy of how the organization is configured on the services that they're using and how the business processes are integrated into those services. Skipping this step could be catastrophic. So let's dig into this. How many organizations does the company have? How is each organization designed, right? What do the organization units look like? And if Google Cloud, what is the folder hierarchy? So, and is there a clear split between environment types, production, staging, testing, any type of environment type? Now here, leveraging Monday.com, we can go ahead and take our notes in the app as we're doing our updates. So we could document notes here, and we've simplified a couple things. The rest of our teams are going to get updated as well without having to send new emails. You can configure Monday.com to send emails on your behalf when an update is posted. So which accounts are critical, right? Which ones have those workloads that cannot be compromised? And is there a risk rating of those accounts? This is a great time to integrate that governance, risk, and compliance strategy right here in stage 2 before you move forward. And then how are new accounts created? Is there an automated process? Are they manually created, right? What security tools is the company using? You can come down here in this lower right-hand corner and you can do your documentation based on the discovery. Again, we haven't left Monday.com, and we're also creating updates to the rest of our team that's working on the project without having to send duplicated emails or look for historic information. So let's come back here. We've understood the primary cloud service provider, high-level hierarchy, and we need to understand what's running on the accounts. Before we do any migration, we have to understand stage 3. Let's look at these 7 sub-steps. What type of technologies are involved? Right? And here's some great things. We can use this status bar to start saying what we're working on. Now, if you are using this on the mobile app, it's a little bit harder to select these statuses. On the web, you can go ahead and bulk select and change these all to the statuses that you're choosing, so working on it, etc. Right? We are going to ask a lot of questions. You will need to bring shareholders and stakeholders into these discussions to understand, what legacy virtual environments exist, right? And how is that data identified by the business? Which one is most sensitive and which one is most critical? Something that is the most sensitive may not be the most critical, and something that is the most critical may also not be the most sensitive. So be sure to account for the different types of information your organization is processing here. Again, we can start to define and integrate identity access management, save report and contact emails and phone numbers in these boxes, and reduce the time to search for the work that you're doing during your cloud audit. And then what type of data is in which account. This is going to be really important in the future when you're starting to migrate services or test authentication, identity access management, right? What type of data is the customer storing? Where are they storing it? And then how is that data rated according to the company's data classification standard, if one exists? If it doesn't, this is a wonderful time to create a data classification standard and go ahead and include that in your notes. So you can come here, write your update, and you could say define data classification standard and policy. This is imperative. The organization who's using cloud services today needs to have this policy on hand so that their employees, contractors, third-party providers can understand how the organization classifies and stores and retains data. This includes privacy, this includes security, this includes optimization, efficiency, development, production, third-party risks, right? Data is what drives businesses. So let's come back. We're still in the planning phase. Let's move into how are we going to understand the network architecture. We've got 9 subtasks here. It ranges from where are the main entry points for the infrastructure and what services and components are internet facing and can receive unsolicited or untrusted and malicious traffic. This is really important to create a defense in depth policy and strategy. Missing this step can be another catastrophic component to business operation, business process, business dependencies. Um, this is imperative to understand where can a user access the organization and how do we do identification and authentication? Where are these devices connected? Where are they pointed? So how do customers get access to the system? And what network access do they have? And how do we understand how they connect, right? How do the engineers, right? We're going to continue into this and we're going to dig deeper. But network architecture is important and we will spend more time focusing on the eaches of network architecture. Let's finish the plan, right? We want to understand identity access management setup. So we've got 15 subtasks here, right? And we break it down between human, if SSO is being used, namespaces, high privileged accounts, role-based and rule-based access accounts, and we're also going to determine automated access. This is really important if your environment has any automated systems connecting to it. So we're going to account for how humans access systems, where SSO is being used, are we following the common practices, and how do automated systems connect with the organization? How do they connect? How do they interact with each other? Do we have logging, monitoring, alerting configured? And are we doing that effectively? So after we understand identity access management, we will also understand the monitoring setup. I have said a couple times so far that we've had to consider for logging, monitoring, and alerting. So this is where we're going to dig into that monitoring setup. If your system is not logging, you can also not monitor. Systems have to have somewhere to record to. So consult with your engineering team about how to set up collecting, aggregating, and analyzing logs across the entire estate. So this is our deep dive into security logging, right? We want to understand what's the retention policy. You're going to have to work with certain teams to get this information. Great time to update your risk management framework. A great time to integrate a control to the security feature that you're trying to integrate to the business. And again, what gets logged lets you understand attack paths, how systems operate, how systems connect, and how error processing is even handled. So we'll also dig into intrusion detection, data loss prevention, playbooks to follow in case of an incident, processes to detect credential compromise. Playbooks are tooling for tainted or compromised resources, and playbooks for automated tooling or to aid in forensic evidence collection for a suspected breach. Your organization can leverage automation to start documenting when a breach is going to happen. This is going to allow your organization to respond and adapt more quickly and keep shareholders, stakeholders, team members, leadership, and management all aware of what's going on at the same time. So then we will determine the secret management setup, right? How is the organization sharing secrets? Where are they stored? What system are you using? And then what process around the secrets are defined, right? What about rotation of secrets? How are secrets revoked? So this is really important, and spend the time connecting with the teams that have access and have responsibility to establish these things. Great time to map this to your risk management framework. And after we've done these secrets management, we'll look at existing security controls. We've got 4 subtasks in here. Right? Which controls have been implemented? Where are security boundaries defined? How are off-the-shelf services being used? And are there any third-party solutions that have been selected or deployed? And then let's get to the easy stuff, low-hanging fruits, right? Which of these high exposure and high impact vulnerabilities or misconfigurations are in production? right? And we can focus across testing, auditing, production environments to go ahead and knock out this and identify where are their exposures that are critical and high impact. So once we do that, we'll be done with phase one, which is stages 1 through 9. A lot of work, but you want to break this up between your organization's teams so that there are focus groups. This is going to take time, this is going to take collaboration, and you're going to have to get management buy-in. But when you break your cloud security assessment into phases and stages, your teams can work on improving and optimizing the performance, the security, the compliance that the organization needs. And next, we're going to jump into workloads. So if you're enjoying this content, like, follow, subscribe, and let me know in the comments what you'd like to see next.